For Monday, July 14th, 2025. We are now called to order. The next item on our agenda is the approval for tonight's agenda. Is there a motion from the council to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any comments or edits to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved as posted. Do want to note Councilmember Dixon is traveling tonight and will not be with us, so just so the public is aware. The next item on the agenda is approval of meeting minutes for Monday, June 9th. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any corrections or comments regarding the meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Next, we'll proceed on to unfinished business, which is state and local legislative updates. And so for that, Town Administrator, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I hope that you can hear me. Okay, I can be heard. This is our final legislative update for the 2025 legislative session. I believe that we have both Mr. Brown here and Mr. Perez from LA Perez Consulting to do that, to provide an update from them. And then at the second part, I just attached a copy of some proposed legislative priorities for the council to start to review over the summer, because right when we get back, you're going to have to put together legislative priorities set, and then like we did last year, that report that we did, we're going to be meeting with the different representatives and talking about what our asks are for 26. It never ends. So welcome, Mr. Brown and Mr. Perez. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to turn it over so that you guys can be seen on the screen.
Good afternoon, esteemed council. Thank you for that welcome, Michelle. Happy to be here today. It's the presentation up for.
Yeah. Going up for you. Give it 2 seconds. We're going to wait till we can see you first, which I think we're going to switch to you in a second.
Okay.
It looks like we're showing.
All right, just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, Rick, we've got it. We've got the. Oh, there you go. There you go.
All righty. So pleasure to be here and to go over the 447th legislative session in terms of overview of what happened and what occurred, and kind of give an overview of what was kind of embarked upon. The legislative session.
Jonathan, are you there?
Jonathan, if you're speaking, we lost you on audio. Can you still see him?
Yeah, he's in the meeting. So maybe this is a.
We'll stop sharing for a second, just kind of reset.
Okay, now I'm back on.
Yeah, his mic is on.
Okay. So Jonathan, do you just want to start to give your presentation, if that makes sense? That way you can start. Okay.
You there, Michelle?
Yes. Do
I
you
hear
want
you.
to just keep on start? We're gonna get the technical difficulties with everybody. The council has your presentation in front of you,
Sure.
in front of them.
Keep
So
going.
what we can do is, yeah, just keep going.
I keep going. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So, so by and large, when you look at, yeah, so by and large, when you look at it, like I was saying, when you look at the total number of bills that went through and that actually were passed, they were passed an amount of, see here. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I had the presentation and then now I've lost. Oh, that's all right. So a total of 3,075 bills were introduced. 805 of those bills were passed and signed by Governor Moore. So that gives you kind of an idea of the flurry of what was going on. 25 of the votes were vetoed, and we kind of went over in general and large the kind of the focus areas, which was youth crime prevention, and I went through some of the other items of priority. Um, HB 322 was a bill that passed, and that was enhanced state support for municipal elections. And basically, what it enables municipalities to do, by and large, is to enter MOUs with the State Board of Elections. So the overall feedback or impact was that for municipal elections, sometimes it was pretty hard for cities to kind of rally around that, hard and expensive in certain cases for municipalities to be able to support that. So the state will allow MOUs and even will offer advice on security and how you can have better services and support. There was a financial note attached to this bill, and I saw that it estimated that it would on $23,400 would what it would cost on average. I guess depends on the size of what you needed and stuff. But that's definitely a great bill that will have municipal impact. Also, there was a number of bills that were passed this legislative session, HB 699 and HB 1443. I'll talk about in a little while. That focused on our veterans, right? And it focused specifically on, in some cases, HB 699, broadening the eligibility for Maryland veterans in terms of veterans that could have been discharged due to sexual orientation, PTSD, or trauma relief. And what this does is it allows municipalities to, the state provides authority now to municipalities to have veteran preferences in place and to be able to expand this audience to greater members that may have not met the previous standard, which enables a greater hiring pool that you wouldn't have before. So, and it also enables as well any sort of resources or job training or mental health support that you normally would provide it. Now you can provide it to an even greater audience. And that kind of leads right into the Family Serves Act, which is HB 1443. Once again, it expands it even more and says you can develop not only preferences for veterans, but their families as well. So overall, this is a great opportunity in terms of being able to seek out additional candidates for positions and jobs, establishing preferences that otherwise would not have been there before. HB 814 is a really big bill for municipalities, Youth Services Bureau reporting, and basically requires the Department of Juvenile Services to produce an annual report on youth services bureaus and connecting that to access funding. So it establishes reports and data to be connected, and then allows municipalities to increase levels of funding if they're working with especially as we work with some of our youth in underserved areas or youth that are involved in unfortunately violent crimes at times. So it's great from the perspective of it does allow a connection to funding. So this was a big deal. It's not so much enabling you to do something that you've already done, but it puts the state on the hook to be able to foot some of these bills and be able to get involved with that. Another key thing that I think is important that happened during the legislative session, because we do cover the county bills as well. There was a number of bills that went in place, and I'll kind of go over them at a high level, but CB 022, that's 2025. That was a supplementary appropriations that passed right before CEO Braveboy got in office. And the main issue with that was there was a $44.8 million reduction to the police department. A lot of that money was spread across grants. About 30 million of it went to grants. 12 million of it went to the health department, and 4 million of it went to housing and community development. But a significant cost for the police department. For Prince George's County, there was also permanent rent stabilization for senior housing passed. Also, the expansion of the elderly property tax credit, which is very confusing that in of itself. Essentially, there's been lots of talks, and I've talked about it on this call previously, about the elderly tax credit and getting that to our seniors and how that looks. And the reality of the matter is, there are all kinds of standards in place. Like your property cannot be over $500,000, and you have to be in the property at least 25 consecutive years, and things of that nature. So this expansion did include some more categories that would open up the aperture for more senior tax credits, but not really by a long shot. So it's still a pretty tough, it's going to be a very thin avenue for people to be able to come through. CB005 is directly important, as it's the minimum wage indexing. So basically, the minimum wage within Prince George's County will be connected to CPI. It does place a cap on it that minimum wage will not go up more than 5% year over year, but it will be tied to that, and minimum wage will gradually increase on that. So that's something from a budgeting overall perspective to follow. The slide went away. I apologize.
Give us 1 second, we'll bring it back up.
We're just sharing the memo because some of it wasn't in your document. So
Okay.
we're sharing it now.
Okay, cool.
Are you able to see it now, Jonathan?
Yes, I am. Okay, thank you. I think last but not least, some of the things we wanted to encourage the city as we looked at a number of things. We talked about the budget and things of that nature. And as always, you're wonderful, town managers all over it. So getting priorities and getting ahead so we can begin engaging early. It's going to be another, that was why I let off with the dollars amount, is that's going to be another tight session. The state is going to have to close another gap in budget. So having those early advocating for those needs will be great. We talked about the veteran hiring bill. So there's a huge avenue of opportunity to have a local ordinance to lean toward hiring veterans. Talked about the state board of elections and things of that nature. And with that, I kind of went over a little bit some of the main priorities and how it impacts Bladensburg and where we're at. But and I went over some things at the county level, but definitely open to pause and just any questions you have for me that I may not have covered, just any areas of interest.
Thank you for that overview, Jonathan. Any questions from the council regarding the legislative update? I don't see any hands at this time. Just want to thank you and your team for continuing to offer the support, tracking state and county level legislation. But also want to note that your help has been very, very useful to us, specifically with the annexation situation, and really helping us to have inroads to Chairman Barnes, who's chair of the Appropriations Committee, and really move that process forward. So that would not have happened without your team's support. So huge thanks to you, Mr. Brown and Mr. Perez, for really coming through for the town in a huge way for that. Again, we don't have any questions. We understand we need to start looking ahead to these legislative priorities for 2026, so that in the September meeting, we can follow up with that discussion and hopefully have you join us at that time.
And Mr. Perez is online. He's on here too, if he has anything to add. Mr. Perez, I saw you here. He's on camera.
Yeah,
I'm here. I won't take any more time. Jonathan covered it all, and thank you for your kind words, Madam Mayor. And good evening, Madam Mayor, and the members of the committee and staff. I just want to compliment, we opened the door for the Ben Barnes thing, and we appreciate that, and we know how critical that was to the town. But I have to say, you, Mayor, and your town manager, you guys did a fabulous job in working with him, and I think we've had the opportunity to create a long-term relationship there on behalf of the town. So congratulations to you as well as to us. So thank you all, and your great team.
We appreciate that very much. Thank you both for joining us, and we'll wish you a good evening as we continue on with our agenda for tonight. That item concludes unfinished business, and we'll now move to item 5 on the agenda, which is new business. For ordinance 01-2026, Town Administrator, we'll turn it over to you.
So there's a series of budget ordinances on here tonight. The first one is in regards to the, Chesapeake Bay Trust acceptance of $35,000 for the CPT grant for green jobs, green streets, green towns. We were only given a partial amount of this. We weren't given the full implementation because, as you know, that the county has experienced some reductions in their stormwater funds. But this will allow us to do the planning for this project and get us on the way. So this actually is up near it's up near Emerson, and it'll basically give us our first green crosswalk and sidewalks, and also provide us with some more rain gardens up in that area. So it's a great opportunity, and that's what you'll be accepting today.
And it also balances out the sustainability efforts, because I know we also have the funding coming through for the rain garden
Yes.
in Ward 1,
And now we're
near
in
the
Ward
fire
1 too.
department. So now it's good we have one project for Ward 2 as well,
I try to
in a
keep it
high
there.
traffic area. So any comments or questions from the council regarding this ordinance? Since it is financial, we will vote on it in the 7:15 meeting today. The next item is ordinance number 02-2026, a budget ordinance to amend FY 2026 for the acceptance of FY 2025 community electric vehicle supply equipment. Town Administrator?
Sure. Mayor, Council, this is a ordinance, again, for the acceptance of funds for the electric vehicle supply grant. We received $50,000 for a level 3 charger. Actually, I think 2 of them. We'll be working with we're going to be working with the supplier EV, I think Blue, who is the one who provided the initial quote on this. But this allows us to expand our electric charging in the town. And we were one of the few towns, I think we're the only port town to get it, and one of the few in Prince George's County to get this funding. It was highly competitive, and we actually spent a lot of time going back and forth with trying to make sure that we could get these funds and secure them for Bladensburg and for the port towns.
So what I'm hearing is call the governor and say thank you, because it was competitive.
Yeah, I mean, so we've been really working on our MEA grants, and this is another one of the was another one. So we'll get this turned around quickly so that we can continue to get more funds in for the town of Bladensburg.
Great, thank you for that overview. Are there any comments or questions from the council regarding this particular ordinance? All righty. And again, this is on the agenda for our later meeting to vote on formally. The next is emergency ordinance 03. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Billy Hedgeworth, so with this grant, so with the stations that we have, because now tell me this, with the charging stations that we have, I know that like people like to use this one. They say because it charges more efficiently. And so in terms of, I guess, the efficiencies and comparability.
Actually, they're 2 different chargers. So the ones on this side are the fast chargers.
I know, that's what I said.
So no. So your vehicle type determines what type of charger you can use. So if you have like a Tesla, you can use those. But my car is hybrid. I can't use those chargers.
Okay.
So that's why they're different. Some are specifically high voltage chargers, where others are the lower level chargers. And so it's a matter of having enough to satisfy both types of vehicles. For example, I've seen your type of vehicle, some are hybrid.
Some more hybrid. Mhm.
So you may not necessarily be able to use that. It'll blow up your battery. You would have to use the lower level charger. So that's why you need to have both. At least it's best to offer both because you don't know
Right.
what the need of the consumer is. But
Yeah,
town
'cause-
administrator,
Yeah, because I know there was a resident who was charging, and I don't know, maybe her vehicle may have been compatible with both. But she said the reason she uses this one is because I mean right now, I'm looking to maybe getting a hybrid, one day, and so I will be more knowledgeable if once I get a hybrid and have to use the charging station. But that's kind of where my question is coming
Sure.
from.
So yeah, no, Councilwoman, it's a great question, and both of you are right. You're both on the right track. So we're going to try to expand more of the level 3 chargers because that's the need from the standpoint of people who have full electric vehicles to be able to charge quickly. So it's a rapid charger, like the mayor's saying. It restricts it to people. We have a couple of level 2s, which is what you see over here on one side of the street, and then up in by the community center. Those are all level 2s. So what the state wants to do is expand level 3s, so it's not necessarily efficiency, it's the level, but you're right, same kind of concept. You can charge faster, and it allows you to do that. So that's what this will focus on. And it also will allow us, the reason why we actually also applied for it, and it's, again, thanks for asking this question, is so that we can have more fleet vehicles. Because if you wanted to have a police vehicle that was a electric police vehicle, you need a rapid charger because of the use of it, and we'll need to be able to have one that's dedicated for that. So what the thought was is to perhaps even have one that the town can fully use and be able to allow us to do that. So that's the reason why we're actually going after this, so that we can actually do fast charging for something like a police or an on-demand vehicle.
Thank you.
any other questions? Alrighty. Next up is Emergency Ordinance 03-2026. This is for approval of a budget adjustment and ratification of the administrator's purchase of a commercial paint sprayer for curb maintenance. So back over to you, Town Administrator.
Yes, this one is me and Mr. Hall, but he's out sick today, so I get to present it to you. If you've noticed over the last couple of days, Mr. Hall actually went through and did some spraying of our curbs. We actually bought the paint sprayer last week so that he could do that, because we have America in Bloom coming this week and trying to get through some of the things this summer. But we're asking for the ratification of this purchase because it was $10,500. And I deemed that it was reasonable, and I think that you'd want this to get done is because of the summertime. And so I'm making sure that I'm kosher on being able to pay for this. If not, I will clean it out and return it, I guess. Put the tags back on it.
I don't think we can do that with America in Bloom coming, because they are so strict when they grade us on everything. We need those curbs painted.
But we're going to use, we're going to be using highway user funds, because again, this is a highway user expense, so it is actually a budgeted expense. It's just that we transfer it as we get these expenses. So that's, instead of just saying, oh, we're going to buy a paint sprayer this year, we made last year with trying to keep the budget. We want to make sure that we're looking at every single expenditure. That's why it's coming as an emergency purchase as well.
The timing is also good because I know Mr. Hall and the team typically redo all the lines before school starts in August, so.
So that's an interesting question, because this paint sprayer does not do that. It only
Okay.
does curbs. And so when, and we had another request, and to answer Councilwoman Blunt's question, I just did. I knew she was gonna, I'm preempting, I'm gonna slide over to that question, because I just approved a separate purchase for $6,000 to do the line striping, because we do not do that kind of paint with this curb thing. So that will actually happen before the school year starts this month. So I've already signed it and taken care of that so that we can get that done. So this curb is just a curb sprayer. And the other one is a different type of sprayer, and it's not financially sustainable for us to buy that type of a sprayer. because it is actually cheaper to go an individual purchase. And we do, but we do have we do intersections, because last year you did an intersection. This is why I loved if Mr. Hall was here, because I asked that question, like, didn't we buy something that does it? We can do the lines at the intersections, which is a thicker adhesive lines thing, and that's what you purchased last year. So as we will look through the next year's purchases for these things, we may get into that business, but we're not currently in the center line business, if that makes
Understood.
sense.
And I guess we don't use it often enough,
Correct.
to your point, to purchase that and
But
make
we
that
will,
investment.
I know the next question is, well, tell us how many times to do it. We haven't done it since I've been here, but we will research it to know how much it costs so that we can do it ourselves.
Okay, Councilmember Blunt, are you good? Yeah, I know, I hear you. Yeah, on Emerson Street, yeah, I totally understand. So, yeah, having the lines striped, particularly on Emerson Street, to make it clear, the division of lines and traffic would be helpful. Councilmember Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. No, I'm just waiting for the TA.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's all right. So, regarding the curb appeal, what about maintenance?
That is for maintenance, so
The maintenance of the equipment.
oh, the equipment,
Equipment
it can be maintained by staff. It's really basically a high-tech paint sprayer, if that's what you're asking, the long-term maintenance of it, is that?
I mean, it's a sprayer, but it looks a little.
Yeah, it's something.
Sophisticated here,
It
which
is
is
somewhat
great.
sophisticated, but we bought it from the local Sherwin-Williams, and so there is maintenance, that we can seek maintenance for them, and then I believe it has a 2-year warranty on it, so that we can get any kinds of other types of maintenance on it, but it is, yeah, you want to talk about it, Vito? Thank you, because I'm like, let me pass this off.
I might be able to fill in some gaps. We had quotes from other vendors, but they did not have a local shop or local area who can perform the maintenance and everything. Sherwin-Williams has a corporate location here, and we take the machine there, or they come out versus buying from someplace out in, say, Indiana or something, and then having to go through trying to find somebody to repair it, and who's going to service it, and will they accept them doing the service or not.
Okay.
So
And then also with the line striping, because even on, and I know that this side of Bladensburg, gets a lot of attention, and the other side of Bladensburg, we need some line striping and some stuff done on that too. So after this, we can, when we get to that point, talk about that, with the line. And then it may be that it's that is the county or SHA who needs to do it, and right there at 48th where Mango Cafe is, and all that. It's so.
Definitely, we can look at it. I know that we are in ongoing talks with SHA, but also I will, because I think some of it is SHA. So we will, but if you can just give me the locations, I'll find out if it's us or if it's them.
Okay, thank you.
But I definitely appreciate Public Works maintaining all of the town as much as possible with the intersections, the work on the curbs, and next, the middle of the roadway. So, but also, council, from our side, we don't have as much of state highways other than Annapolis Road, so I don't think it's as big of a problem with any SHA areas that need to be restriped, but please let the administrator know if you notice something, so we can at least report out to SHA and get them to come out and take care of that.
Yeah, and Mayor, thank you for that, because most definitely, our Public Works, they do a great job on both sides. Because I always say when it snows, and although that road is county road, our guys over there making sure on the other side of Bladensburg, so they take care of the whole town, making sure. But it's those roads that are county and SHA. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
All right, so next on the agenda, we have item D, ordinance 04-2026. This is for the U.S. Department of Justice Bladensburg Warrant Reduction Program. So turn it over to you, Mrs. Bailey Hedgepath.
I also have Deputy Chief here, and I have John here as well, who wrote the grant. I could just bring him up. Do you want to go on up, John? I mean, you or Deputy Chief, whoever wants to talk about it. It's not me.
Well, no, John, you're the expert. You helped write it, so come on up and tell us all about it.
That's right.
Mayor and council, staff, it's always good to see you. So the warrant apprehension and absconding grant through the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention, it is a overtime grant which the town did receive last fiscal year from the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention in the amount of $30,000. And again, due to the success of the program last year and the officers and everything that went out there made took a lot of warrants off the street. The governor's office said we'll give you another $30,000 this year based on those stats and the information for outstanding warrants. So what this does is the officers, through scheduled, planned overtime with the police department, actually go out and look for people, the most violent offenders that you have, those that have committed homicide, rape, first-degree assault, robbery, usually robbery with a firearm, and they're looking for those individuals to remove them from the street. They also use strategic traffic enforcement to find people that have warrants, and they're not just stopping them for warrants. Let me just say that, there's usually another reasonable articulable suspicion or probable cause that leads up to that, but their goal when they're out there is to remove these offenders that have open warrants off the streets and provide a safer community through doing so. The grant is reimbursable, and last year we had a great success with it, and the payments came right on time, and everything was tracked, and they gave us a clean bill of health. So we look forward to hopefully getting this one again next year and seeing some amazing stats again.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Any questions or comments from the council? While you're thinking about it, I appreciate your assistance with getting the funding, and kudos to Major Dickerson and the entire police department for the stellar work in the last fiscal cycle, which made it easier for the administration to award us again this year. But any comments you have, Deputy Chief?
Yes, ma'am. I thank John for that report. And I'd just like to add that, yes, as he stated, we did have this funding last year and was very successful. This funding does require reporting, which we keep a track of all of the hours and arrests and everything and submit reports, and John is able to submit those back to the state, which has allowed us to go back and get this grant again this year. So we're very fortunate to be able to have this grant to assist the police department in going out and doing these warrant sweeps. And as he stated, we're getting a lot of violent offenders off the street with this assistance.
Yeah, it just speaks to the leadership in our police department with you and Chief Collington to be able to take that step and see the value of not having to wait for Prince George's County or another agency to help us in that regard. So again, thank you all so very much, and we will formally vote on this ordinance in the 7:15 meeting. Sure, Councilmember Brown?
Yeah, thank you. Deputy Collington, in terms of the stats, it's so like, are the stats available somewhere to see, or that report? Not right now, I'm just saying.
Right. Yes, they are available. As I stated, we compiled all of the stats that were required by the grant, and John submitted them to the state, so we can pull those stats up.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Next, we're on to item E, which is Resolution 01-2026, a resolution authorizing staff to seek technical assistance from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. Over to you, Town Administrator.
Hello, Mayor, Council. So this one is a resolution asking for permission to go for the staff to start to investigate finance options with the state for the town hall. The reason why we wanted to start to bring this up is that attached to this item are some estimates based on the preliminary work that's been done by the Neighborhood Design Center that prices the proposal for between 15 and 19 million dollars, which we have approximately 1.2 or 1.3 million dollars in bond bill funding, but some of that will be spent in regards to doing the initial planning work for the town hall. So the issue that Vito and I myself see, because we always are nervous Nellies, is that this will have some effects on the long-term budget of the town. And the state has a cap of about $10 million of lending authority for towns that are not rated, bond rated. The bond rating process is something that I think that we may have to go through, especially for a council, for a council town hall, the whole facility. And that process will take some time for us to develop financial, to basically make ourselves bond ready. And so we're asking for the advice from the state because they offer technical assistance on this process. Plus they offer funding for the first 10 million through their capital infrastructure program, which is what we're pretty much thinking that we'd like to do. But to start through this process will give us a heads up or kind of a head start on the process as we continue to go through the planning process. It also then makes us more viable for future funding with the state. I know that one of our state senators has been very insistent on the fact that having milestones like this, like how are you going to fund it to get more money? So part of our legislative ask will be saying, hey, we'd like to ask for $2 million or $5 million or a certain amount of money from capital bond funding over the next few years. Well, we have to show that we're already bond ready and funded for the project. So this is sort of that step to take you down that road and then give you some numbers to say if you had an overall debt of X, this is how much per year you'd have to pay back in funding. The one issue that, and I don't want to kind of point out other municipalities, but there have been other municipalities who've gone through this process and then have made that first bond payment comes up and they've had to raise their taxes significantly. It's one of our neighboring cities, and I'm not going to mention the name, but they had a little sticker shock after their town hall was built. And so I want you to be able to have that process, have discussions, and to be able to fully look at this. And then the other part of my memo does talk about if there is any ideas, if you say, hey, Michelle, I'd like to also phase this, split the projects, look at, a town hall or maybe a police substation or things like that. We can, at this point, before we spend too much money on one concept, we could look at two concepts. So I'm just trying to give you all those kinds of things. So that's just the process. That's just the process that I wanted to outline quickly today and to kind of say, I'm thinking about it, we're thinking about it. Mr. Tonelli can answer any other questions that I have not provided for. Mr. Tonelli?
As Town Administrator said, it's something just to prep, it's not just building the budget around it, it's, building everything around it. I mean, a tax base, everything, because, our current tax rate now is because we don't have any debt, and that's why we've had the same rate forever, is because we have not had any debt, because we're still in a place that looks like, so it's, at a certain point, as the town's grown, as the services expanded, the town's expanded, and we're still in the 1950s era building, 70, well, 50 footprint, 79, but so it's just, this starts a process for us to look at what it's going to take, long-term financing, what it's going to cost based on, the square footage now, and what do we, it's a lot in there right now, but it meets all the needs, but we just have to balance that out versus, what the debt service is going to look like. So.
But I think the important thing I want to mention too is I know, Senator Augustine was a huge reason why we got this funding. and we owe him a lot of credit for that. But just coming out of COVID, and I've said this to him directly, we had so many things that we had to contend with coming out of the pandemic, staffing changes, and then there were other high priority tasks that needed to be addressed when our administrator came in. So I do appreciate his patience while we kind of got those projects out of the way, so now we can focus on this. But it is really time for us as a council to determine the direction we want to go in. I appreciate the meeting with Neighborhood Design where we really got into the weeds in terms of what we want to see in there, making sure there's community spaces, and we're not just thinking about staff and council needs, but also the needs of the community, because it's their building, it's not ours. And really being thoughtful so that we don't build it for the staff we have today, but for growth and future opportunities. And so this is the next logical step in that process, is really looking at the numbers and finding out what it's going to take for us to secure financing, what options are available. But I think also once we have that information, we as a council can come back and say, okay, based on what we can qualify for, what shifts do we need to make working with the staff? Do we need to reduce a little bit? Can we go up a little bit? But right now, we just don't have that information. We need that data to continue the process. So long-winded way of saying thank you for moving this forward, and I look forward to voting in favor of it in the next meeting. And also just want to note, this is based on about 27,000 square feet in terms of needs over 2 stories. So again, this is thinking about our growth trajectory, how this building benefits the community. So Ms. McCutcheon can use the community space and not always have to go to the community center and other groups. So we really want this to be the people's building. And that at the end of the day, as I said, their tax dollars are building this. We just want all the information so we can make the best possible fiduciary decision for the town. With that, are there any other comments or questions from the council? Okay. Okay. Councilmember McBride said, I'm ready to vote. Okay, so this, again, because it is up for decision from the council, we will vote on it in the next meeting. And so now we'll move on to item F, which is contract approval for Osprey Development. Yay, development in Bladensburg. Town Administrator, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, we have Mr. Clark online, and I think he's going to be doing the presentations. Joe, are you able to hear me? And I'll do some filler if he can't. So Joe, can you hear me on online? Okay.
Are you able to see him in the list of participants or no?
Yes, he's here. He's
Okay.
just on mute right now.
Okay.
So he is on mute. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to, I think I'm getting emails. If someone else can let me know what the emails are. Share is, I'm going to try to share. Hold on one second.
Can you all hear me now?
I can, Joe. Thank you. Yay. It's good to hear you.
Okay, great. I am going to share my screen now. I apologize every time I try to do it on my computer, or every time I try to present myself, I lose audio. So let me know if you all can see my screen.
Okay. It is up now. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me, Mayor, council members, and everybody else that's members of the town of Bladensburg. As I'm sure everybody is well aware now, we are under construction out at the Townsend Hamlet Woods, which is the property located all the way at the end of 57th Avenue, just north of the Autumn Woods apartment complex, and just to the southeast of Templeton Elementary School. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, we
Is
can
there
hear
any
you fine,
background?
Joe. We can hear you fine.
Okay, great. Here's just a brief project description. It's 59 units of 3 and 4 bedroom townhouse style units. It will be professionally managed with a part-time on-site staff, and we also have 24/7 maintenance. It's a rental property, and we already kind of went over the location. Here's a general site plan of the project. As you can see, 57th Avenue is where my cursor is going over. So this is the end of 57th Avenue, and this is where the construction entrance is now. As you can see, we've got 5 buildings with parking and dumpster pads. Here is a rendering of what they will look like. And another one. They're similar in massing to the existing Hamlet Woods Condo Association, which is actually just to the east of this project. Here's some of Osprey's previous experience with townhouses and kind of the level of finishes we intend to be using here as well. And another project we've done. And then just some information on the units. I've got a 4-bedroom unit floor plan over there to the right, but they'll have all Energy Star appliances, have cable, be cable ready, large closets, window coverings, and some higher end finishes throughout the units. And then just so you all know the project timeline, we started tree clearing work back in April of this year, and then officially started construction last month in June. And then starting in March of next year, because this is a rental property, we'll have kind of our marketing kickoff and a big application day where people can come and tour the property and start filling out applications and take a look at the progress we've made out there. And the first units will be completed in June of next year, so in about a little under a year now. And then the project will be completed in August of 2026, so next summer. And that's when the final units will be delivered as well, and that's a typo. It's obviously 2026. And then here are just some kind of brief progress photos of where we stand. I know there was the sidewalk got ripped up there at the end of 57th Avenue, but it's for some of our storm drain install, but it's since been replaced and reseeded and restrawed. So as you can see, only thing we've really done at this point is take down trees and do some dirt work and started on some of the utilities infrastructure, but that's going to take it'll happen over the next couple of months just because it is a pretty tricky site with a lot of grade changes and just a lot we have to do to clean up the site out there. So that is the kind of brief update and end of my presentation, but I'll open it up to any questions that the mayor or council or anyone else has.
Joe, thank you for that presentation. It was helpful to get this update and see pictures of the current work being done on the site. You mentioned the professional staff will be there part-time managing the property. The question I have for you is, are you all planning to have, similar to other apartment communities in town, will you have your own security firm patrolling that, or would that be something you'd be looking to potentially hire part-time Bladensburg police officers to help with? Just curious on what the plan is there.
Yeah, so we will have a security system with cameras and with the capability of a third party monitoring them. I know when we previously met and spoke with the chief, he said they would love the opportunity and have the capability to help us with monitoring that. And we're trying to get a system where any third party could log in with the access credentials and access the cameras whenever they want or need to. So yes, we will have security on. We do not currently have planned manned security, but we will have security cameras around the perimeter and the interior of the site.
Perfect, thank you. Council members, any comments or questions for Mr. Clark? Excited about more development happening in the town, and just look forward to August 2026 when we can have or maybe it's June, when those first units are ready, some sort of ribbon cutting. Because I feel like you and your team have been working on this for several years, so we need to go big and commemorate this with a nice celebration for you all.
Yes, definitely, and hopefully we can do a nice intro to the team and everybody once that site gets a little cleaner, maybe towards the end of summer, and do a kickoff with the town, the county, and the state of Maryland, everybody that's involved in the project. And I did also want to note that we do have our own private trash collection and snow removal incorporated into our budget, so we will be responsible for that.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for those updates. We appreciate you taking the time. Again, any questions or comments from the council before we move forward? This is on the agenda for the later meeting for the council to vote on. All right, so with that, Mr. Clark, we don't have any more comments or questions. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thanks, everybody, and feel free to reach out to me if any questions or comments pop up. I think the mayor and Michelle have my contact information.
Perfect, thank you. The next item on tonight's agenda is for contract approval of a software agreement with Martis Software for budgeting, so I'll turn that over to the town administrator.
It's both myself and Mr. Tonelli, because I hate to take all of the spotlight here, especially when it's about spending money. This is a software agreement with Martis, who has been working with us on updating our budgeting software. It actually works well with our QuickBooks, and actually was part of some of the forecasts that we did for the FY26 budget. We used Martis. And Mr. Tonelli, you.
Okay. The way we have been budgeting up until this point is spreadsheets, linked spreadsheets. It's personnel budgeting, but done by spreadsheets and spreadsheets. It's really a very old, archaic way of doing things, but we're limited. But it's as a budget has doubled since I've been here. It's like when it's doubled, it's like really 4 to 5 times more work, and it's still just us. So I've been looking at this for quite a few months now, and we settled on Martis. And the reason why is because I've talked to a lot of vendors, and they're just priced way out of our ballpark. I mean, the software packages are $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 because they see governments, they see what they're replacing as like a half of an FTE position to do this automated budgeting. So. And so when I was getting frustrated, so this one I picked up because I was searching for nonprofit budgeting software, and that's what the town is, a nonprofit. So it's a different pricing structure, and it's offering all the same capabilities, and it works seamlessly with QuickBooks package. So when I make changes in one system, it goes into the other system, make changes in this system, it goes to that system. You didn't see the full product in this FY26 budget because I was trying to do it side by side, but when it came down to the end, I just went back to the old way to get it done. So I had more time to work with it this fiscal year, and you'll start seeing the reporting soon based upon this. And it has like the what do you call it? I told you before
Forecasting?
not only that, but the oh gosh, I forget. I just talked about it a few minutes ago. The screenshots and everything.
The dashboard.
Dashboards. Thank you. But I was going through my ABCD
Right.
dashboard, so it popped up. So that you can drill down the info and everything. So it'll still be a couple more months going fully live with it, but I am using part of it now with the personnel budgeting, which is nice because if there's any change in positions, I just plug that in and it flows all the way through, and so and it tracks the full cost of with benefits, which is great, which I am again doing now, all just through spreadsheets and linked spreadsheets, and I got to double check and triple check, make sure all the links work and everything else. So it's, it's nice that this will replace that. And there's a first software purchase or improvement we've made in 10 years. So it's
Yikes. Yikes.
Yeah, I know.
On the other hand, congratulations for getting our dollars out of Excel. Like you
Yeah,
tapped
I
it,
know.
you stretched it 1,000 different ways. But I think this is great, council members and staff, simply because this will allow you to actually sit and have meetings department by department and really give the full picture of where they are
And
each
everybody sees it
quarter.
live
Yes, it's
all the time,
live.
so
You know
it's-
where you are against budget, and having that dashboard feature will really make it visually just easier for everyone to just track all the information. So, any comments or questions about the software for Mr. Tonelli?
I say go for it because I know what software does when you do your job, so
Thank you.
congratulations. I'm sorry, hello? I'm sorry. But yeah, any software that can help you, enhance what you do in your job. I love software. I love AI, but I love software better. Okay.
Councilmember Brown?
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, and Mr. Tonelli, just thank you for the wonderful, had you not, disclosed that information, we never would have realized. You do such a wonderful job. Never would have realized that you were, doing so much without, that specific, software. So thank you for
And
that,
you
because
talked
that's
to-
something.
You talked to some vendors too at.
Yeah, I sure did. And I
yeah,
brought some
so
information
that's
back
where
to
the
you as
conversation
well
started,
for, yes, for trying to help you out with that fiscal management. So thank you for continuing to do a great job for us.
Councilmember McBride?
No, I just want to say congratulations also, because I see the work that you do, and I've worked with spreadsheets and Excel and all of them. Congratulations. Yeah, that's a job. Yes.
So I think we are unanimous in support for that and look forward to voting to approve that in the next meeting, or our 7:15 meeting, that is. Next, we are on the item of sponsorship of events, so I will turn that back over to our town administrator.
Well, this is myself and Miss Watson, because I'd like to be able to give some credit, a lot of credit, to her staff. Both her and Mr. Jeffries put together the sponsorship package. And the one good thing I just wanted to make sure that keeping the council aware of is that as we move forward with some of our special events, we're going to be seeking sponsorships. We actually got over $5,000 for the Independence Day from the two towns, and actually at the very last minute we had someone, Anderson Windows, or one of the window companies, came and wanted to do a booth, and we were able to make to make some money on that. So I think as we move forward, this is something that I just wanted to make sure the council was aware of. We also are going to make sure that we work more with the port towns and kind of make sure that we are, doing more of our events together. From my standpoint, we're active. I'm very active with talking to those managers, with both Culmore Manor, Cottage City, and Edmiston on everything that we're doing, and especially with the Port Town CDC. Trying to make sure that we're pushing more things through that as that becomes developed. So,
You mean the BCCE?
I call it. Let me just call it Project CDC. I'm going to call it Project CDC. It's the BCCE Port Town CDC. But the project, that CDC project, is foremost in of my mind right now, with getting that together so that the council can make some, you all can approve people for that next year. In September, next meeting. Yeah, it's pouring out there. So get us a boat. All right.
So, Ms. Watson, we'll turn it over to you on the sponsorship opportunities packet.
I think Michelle said it all pretty much.
I do want to, while you're off mic still, though, I do want to thank you and your team. I can see Mr. Jeffrey's thumbprints all throughout this as I was reading it over the weekend, and really like the creativity that was demonstrated here with the sponsorship levels of silver, bronze, and then community sponsor. And just one comment I thought might be helpful is as you're looking at the levels of sponsorship, sometimes it's nice if that biggest offering, like in this case, the platinum one, is the similar to this longest, but it just lists everything that's included in the others that's applicable. So as you build up, for example, everything at the lowest level of $1,000 would be included in the silver sponsorship, plus more. And then you do that for the next ones. Again, it just, the optics of it, if I'm a business and I see, wow, there's 15 things that I get here for the platinum level versus 4 for the other one. If money's not an issue and I'm just looking for maximum value and visibility, that could be something that's helpful. And then with respect to the other items, I thought it was creative, the 1742 sponsor and the Discovery sponsor and the other, the second packet that was listed in here. And just wanted to know, is that, like, what is, how would you distinguish the two different offerings? Because this one has like the yellow and blue sponsor, for example, the Discovery sponsor, the community sponsor, and then 1742. Is this for like just, again, offering a different price point for the events?
My understanding is that we're trying to, that he's looking at these for more of some of the, for different price points, and also from the standpoint of, and I'm sorry, Ms. Watson, if I'm jumping in. No, it's from the standpoint of the Bladensburg Day and things like that. We first, I think when he was first putting these together, he was sort of doing them for the individual days and the individual events. And to keep versus, so that's how we started it, and that's why I wanted to make sure that you saw like how how they kind of started, because we were really starting to focus on some of those individual events, and then we looked at some when he was doing some of the research, we looked at other towns and cities in the area, because they somewhat do a hybrid of this. They do particular events, and then they did overall sponsorship of a suite of events, and mostly that's mostly parks and recreation kind of groups as well. So like in the city of Rockford, Frederick, their arts council has something similar. So we're trying to, it's kind of because we have Maryland Park and Planning, and Maryland Park and Planning from Prince George's doesn't do as much of the sponsorship because of the way that they're structured. So that's what and I think the other part about, just to think about what we're looking at with sponsorship, is that also asking for resources from Maryland Park and Planning as well, for some of these events. Stages, things like that, porta potties. We worked with them in the Boswick House as well when we did that particular meeting on that particular event. And they helped provide some of that, which also helped us to get some amounts off. So, just asking, which is the other part of this. But I just wanted to address it, because I know that council asked us during the budget process to look at this issue. Because it's something that it's like, we were looking at trying to reduce some of our costs, trying to look at ways that we can still have these great events, and then at the same time, provide, be able not to have it all on the town.
Yep, understood. Ms. Watson, anything else you want to add?
No, it's okay.
Okay, but I got it now. So you've got the sponsorship levels for the suite of events versus individual event sponsorships. Excellent. Any questions from the council?
Yeah, I'm glad you all have this, because I know I've been using for the senior gathering, and as well as the holiday, the other towns, their residents, which it boosts attendance, and getting other like organizations like the Department of Aging that deal with seniors to buy in on this. I'm glad you did just show me how to use it, because I will ask. I have no problem asking for no money, and I can write little small grants. So, but yeah, getting more. That 4th of July was awesome. I'm sorry I just threw it out there. It was awesome, and I stayed. But it was awesome to see that many people, like it was the White House. So having sponsorships for events like that, we can get some hearts shooting up in the air and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I love this program. So Thank you, Regine, Jeffries, and Michelle for putting this together. I appreciate that.
Yeah, especially given the conversations we had during the budget planning and just really thinking about how we can find other ways to help cut costs on the budget and really looking at these sponsorships so we don't have to necessarily cut back on everything, can still offer those important events, but expand it through allowing businesses and other organizations to help fund them. So, and there's value in that too. They're not just giving us money. We're putting them in front of large audiences. So yes, absolutely. So thank you. You can tell we're happy. Please let Ray know. We're very pleased with his efforts there. And so we'll continue moving. I know time's getting late, so we need to pick up the pace of America in Bloom update. It's that week.
It's me, Purnell, and Regime, so I'll start, and I'll be Purnell too a little bit. So what we're going to be doing, whatever. So just FYI, it's the 17th and 18th that our evaluators are coming. Attached is a copy of the report. The one thing is that we're going to have a couple of events where the council and the community is involved in. I think we're going to be working with, I know that we're going to be working with the Ammon Trust. They again are going to be, they're going to go to lunch with us on Friday, I think, and then we're going to go over to Boswick and do a site tour of the of Boswick House. We are going to go to the Anacostia Watershed. It's going to host a watershed tour. Staff will be taking them all around. Hopefully it won't rain, and it'll be a great 2 days. It's always action-packed and filled with things. We're going to go to the event, the community event with the Eco City Farms. So that will be on Friday, which was a little bit of a change because they're having that community open house. They like to go to community open houses, so they're going to go to that. So it's I think everything's coming together, and there's some new features that staff has worked on. As I mentioned, Mr. Hall has worked on a lot of new planting beds around town, which we'll be showing them. The things that we did over at the post office, which is a huge improvement with adding those plants and flowers. We'll kind of do a little bit more cutting over there after this rain comes in today. And then just try to make sure that we make the town look as good as possible. And then there are new banners, thanks to Ray, on 57th. And then what we're trying to do so that it's on both sides of the town and the entry is that we've asked SHA for approval to add banners to the bridge so that when you come from the Bladensburg side, you'll see the smaller banners as you get into Bladensburg. So we've asked for that approval. I don't think they're up yet. That's what but that is one of the approvals that we did ask for, is to be able to move some of our existing banners over to that area so that we can start to have them throughout the town. And then we're going to look for spaces in both wards so that we can have our banners, because we ordered the ones that are on 57th. We've ordered an additional 8 to put around the rest of the town. So I just wanted to kind of let you know that there's changes are coming, and there's changes that we've implemented for this America in Bloom.
Excellent. Ms. Watson, anything you want to add?
No, I'm just excited to be part of it this year. You know, this is a first year that I'll be part of what Purnell, Michelle, and Ray is doing, and I'm excited to be part of the whole thing and learn about it as well.
And the good thing is, from your perspective, there's been a lot of improvement since last year, so you get to help highlight that for the assessors and let them know we took their feedback in last year's report to heart. So hopefully they'll be pleased when they do our evaluation.
I think they definitely will. We've done a lot of work.
Agreed. All right, so that completes item I. We're on to item J for the United States 250th. Over to you, Town Administrator.
Well, Mayor, this is actually a little bit of you, so I don't have to say everything, but what I'm just doing is that the overall up-to-date on the U.S. 250th anniversary is coming next year in 2026. It's July, so July of next year will be the big time. We received $500, not $500,000. We have $500 in educational. I should make that very clear. And we applied for $4,000, but we have not received information on that yet for a special event. What we're also working on, which Mayor James is going to be working on, the task force, which has been approved by the council. And Mayor will be hosting the ATHA conglomeration in December, which we just need to figure out the dates. So ATHA, which is the Anacostia Trails and Heritage Association, has a 250th committee with all amongst different Prince George's County towns and cities, and that meets monthly. I've been going to those meetings. What we're going to do is host it in December, because that's going to be sort of when everybody's going to start for the new, that's going to be the big time of when they're starting. But it's been a really good group, so we're going to host it here. I'll let council know when that is. It's usually like it's a morning meeting, but there's a lot of people that come, and it's all about history, and it's all about the 250th anniversary. So I just wanted to give the council an update since it is July.
Yeah, and then the other thing is from the Maryland 250 Commission, on the civics committee specifically, what we're trying to do is encourage communities to do a citizens civics academy. So similar to what the police department does, really do a 5 or 6 week course for residents in the evening, just a couple of hours where you're educating them on how your government works. So I've started pulling some things together to help create a curriculum, which I hope I'll have done by the end of the summer. And the idea would be trying to launch that in like late fall or either the winter going into the spring, because what I'd like to do is have people recognize that completed at the fireworks event, just to give them more recognition in the community, that they understand how their council works and the government as far as the police department and how that works with public works and code and everything else. So that is happening. And of course, just sitting in on all the state level meetings as well. So that is, I think, all of 3 minutes for tonight, but we'll have more at the next meeting. And just want to pause for any comments or questions before we jump to the next one. Yes, Councilmember Blunt.
On the 250th, would the council be involved in this whole program? Would you have different tasks that we can assist in with this?
If the council is interested, yeah, definitely.
Okay, I would be
and I'll
interested in
just,
whatever.
whenever we have our meetings, just shoot that out to everyone.
Okay.
So if your schedule permits, you can join. And, if you can't be here, at least be on Zoom or something.
Okay.
Share your ideas
Okay,
and
thank you.
let us know how you want to be a part of it. The one thing I'm trying to do is make sure we don't leave any pockets of the community out. So for example, inviting history teachers from the high school, having representation from the elementary schools, because we want everyone to be a part of this celebration. The kids need to know why this is exciting. The seniors need to know why this is exciting and want to be a part. And so I think it's just really important that we get that whole cross-section of the community involved in the celebration.
All right, thank you.
For sure. All right, and then our next item is very easy, would be asking for the council to approve the August 2025 council recess, canceling the meetings currently scheduled for August 11th, 2025 for the council work session and council meeting. So that will be on the 7:15 meeting agenda. So if there are no questions, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any comments or questions before calling the vote?
I do. I have one.
Councilmember Brown?
'Cause I don't want to recess.
You are welcome to meet, my dear. You are welcome. We will not stop you. Here's the gavel. We won't be here. With that, I will call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. We're adjourned, and we'll see you back at 7 p.m.